Yo, man, what's going on, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Everybody.
Happy Friday. When you get this, it might be Saturday or even Sunday, but happy day.
I know. Hey, so why did the Democrat South become Republican?
That is a very good question.
This is the one I really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to know why even just the whole Republican Party shifted from a lot of African Americans being part of that political party.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Once upon a time, every student of history, and that meant pretty much everyone with a high school education, knew this. The Democratic Party was the party of slavery and Jim Crow, and the Republican Party was the party of emancipation and racial integration. Democrats were the Confederacy, and Republicans were the Union. Jim Crow Democrats were dominant in the South, and socially tolerant Republicans were dominant in the North. But then, in the 1960s and 70s, everything supposedly flipped. Suddenly, the Republicans became the racists, and the Democrats became the champions of civil rights. Fabricated by left-leaning academic elites and journalists, the story went like this.
Academia.
Republicans couldn't win a national election by appealing to the better nature of the country. They could only win by appealing to the worst. Attributed to Richard Nixon, the media's all-purpose bad guy, this came to be known as the Southern Strategy. It was very simple. Win elections by winning the...
Wait, I thought this stuff flipped like a long time ago. This flipped not that long ago.
Yeah, you said the 70s.
I mean, that's a long time ago.
That's what I was thinking, too.
That's a long time ago, but not that long ago.
Right. I was thinking way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
40-something years he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
The South. And to win the South, appeal to racists. So the Republicans, the party of Lincoln, were to now be labeled the party of rednecks. But this story of the two parties switching identities is a myth. In fact, it's three myths wrapped into one false narrative. Let's take a brief look at each myth in turn. Myth number one, in order to be competitive in the South, Republicans started to pander to white racists in the 1960s.
That's what we thought.
Republicans actually became competitive in the South as early as 1928 when Republican Herbert Hoover won over 47% of the South's popular vote against Democrat Al Smith. In 1952, Republican President Dwight Eisenhower won the southern states of Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. And in 1956, he picked up Louisiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia, too. And that was after he supported the Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education that desegregated public schools, and after he sent the 101st Airborne to Little Rock Central High School to enforce integration. Myth number two, Southern Democrats angry with the...
So he was with Brown Board of Education to bring blacks into the school system, to a all-white school system, and then they also brought the military to make sure that it was safe for them to enter in.
Wow.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 switched parties. Fact, of the 21 Democratic senators who opposed the Civil Rights Act, just one became a Republican. The other 20 continued to be elected as Democrats or were replaced by other Democrats. On average, those 20 seats didn't go Republican for another 2.5 decades. Myth number three, since the implementation of the Southern Strategy, the Republicans have dominated the South. Fact, Richard Nixon, the man who is often credited with creating the Southern Strategy, lost the Deep South in 1968. In contrast, Democrat Jimmy Carter nearly swept the region in 1976, 12 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And in 1992, over 28 years later, Democrat Bill Clinton won Georgia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. The truth is, Republicans didn't hold a majority of Southern congressional seats until 1994, 30 years after the Civil Rights Act. As Kevin Williamson of National Review writes, if Southern rednecks ditched the Democrats because of a civil rights law passed in 1964, it is strange that they waited until the late 1980s and early 1990s to do so. They say things move slower in the South, but not that slow. So what really happened? Why does the South now vote overwhelmingly Republican? Because the South itself has changed. Its values have changed. The racism that once defined it doesn't anymore. Its values today are conservative ones, pro-life, pro-gun, and pro-small government.
Wow.
And here's the proof. Southern whites are far more likely to vote for a black conservative like Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina than a white liberal.
Wow.
In short, history has moved on. Like other regions of the country, the South votes values, not skin color. The myth of the Southern strategy is just the Democrats' excuse for losing the South. And yet another way to smear Republicans with the label racist. Don't buy it.
Wow.
I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
Let's go.
And that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense that the whole time now people are showing so much love in regarding to this content is because listen to when people were they giving in the comment section. Shout out to everybody in the comment section because they're giving love and education. Nobody's bashing. Nobody's saying well you should know this and that. They're like we showing you along this journey that you're opening your eyes to, and it's showing love, and that makes so much sense because that makes sense. That makes so much sense because especially when I lived in certain parts of Georgia, I thought it was about the skin color, but no, they wanted the certain traditionalism. They didn't want this new age stuff that was coming, and it just makes so much sense, man. Just be thinking it's slow, but no, people don't want to go backwards
and this
feel
is
like
why
that. And even though you're going forward, you throwing all things off.
This is why you have to research yourself, because everything that we were basing our thoughts and decisions on came from myth, came from what someone else said, not what the true facts were.
Right.
And now as we continue to watch these videos and look at and react to some of these videos where you have Republicans who are black are talking to some of these liberals,
Keep going.
the liberals have no solid concrete facts. They're just giving you all emotion and opinion. But here it explains it. That makes so much sense. And this is why, I'm really just happy about learning and knowing more to make the best decision for my household.
Conservative here, please. Thank you.
I mean, wow. It's like I would have never thought. And then the 70s, I'm sitting here thinking it's going back way to the times of Harriet Tubman and all of them. That's why I was thinking it started to switch and change.
Back when folks used to be like, I declare. Back when I'm thinking like it was that far back.
And Lincoln was assassinated because of what he was trying to do. Oh my gosh.
Trying to do.
Evidence is king.
It is. Wow.
Woo.
So educational, but
it
it's
is.
so
I was just about to say, I love learning. I mean, I really am just so glad. I feel like a weight has been lifted, but let's not keep going because we're going to be diving into for today.
But it's so refreshing because to know, I'm going to keep saying this, to know that I was so wrong in my mindset and was just thinking that, that it was something race related when it's nothing to do with race. She said let's say if it was not Trump or DeSantis for the Republican nominee, because though we know those two gonna be the ones that's going after it, and it was Tim Scott. Tim Scott is in the list, but let's say it was only Tim Scott and others. People they would pick. I don't care if you're in deep South, you're going to pick Tim Scott because values, not skin color, and that makes so much sense. That's why when I would see people, they'd be like, "No, this is nothing to do with racism. It's all about heritage. This is all about traditional values." And I don't know. That just makes me feel so much better. It makes me so much better being educated with this, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
yep. When you know better, you do better.
That's so. I'm just happy to get this information. Shout out, man. I mean, you know better, you do better.
That's it.
We didn't work off emotions. We work off information. So
not when you know better, you following what everybody else is doing, even though it's not the truth. That ain't it. When you know better, you make a sound decision. You make a decision that's going to benefit you and your household.
And people that don't have no information won't even go into the battle. They're not even going to go into battle.
But please, them people out there were talking out the side of their neck. That one lady was just carrying on. I'm like, how? Like, how? How?
But when you don't have information, what's left? Nastiness.
Yes.
So,
but that's how they come. They want to start with that. Please, that's why you got to know your gifts.
That bullhorn, that bullhorn has been slapped so hard out that hand.
No, I'm not one of those people to go down and have one of them type of discussions. But I just commend those people who actually can do it.
Yeah.
Because, that's how the information is getting out for you to see. If they weren't brave enough or didn't have the temperament or weren't gifted, it's a true gift from God. I don't care what nobody say, to get out here and to be on the opposite side of what people think is a lie when they actually walking in a lie. And they still going off of, you're doing this, and this is that, and this is that, and all opinion. And I'm like, how? Where are your facts? Please commemorate. Am I saying that right? Commemorate.
And then
corroborate.
And then not only you saying it wrong, you keep getting close to the mic and
I see.
Look, I'm doing this show. I'm like, back it up.
Y'all know what I'm saying. What's the
baby,
word?
this you.
I know. I was not getting the social cue.
She was like,
Cooperate.
Y'all know what I'm saying. That's the word. I might be saying it wrong, but back up what you're saying with facts.
Oh man.
Whew, okay, y'all. I got excited. I wasn't getting it. I was trying to get my point out. Okay, I'm done.
All right, y'all. We're gonna keep educating ourselves.
Yes.
And we like that y'all watch us, learn,
share with you.
and then y'all could drop y'all. It seems like as we get closer and dive deeper, people start revealing more information.
Yeah,
that
let's
you
go.
Can't easily find. So.
Yeah. And then these are conversations that, I definitely will have, with people that I know.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning. So I'm still learning. I got screenshots on my phone, still deep diving and reading.
And shout out to my mama, because this is one thing we won't see. Me and her don't see eye and eye about politics no more. So it's like, I hope that.
But you still may be able, you can still have a conversation and disagree. You never know. You still have a conversation and disagree. All right, guys. We love you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Man. Keep coming back because we're definitely going to be sharing more and more of this content with you.
All right. Y'all. Bye.
Yeah.